All right, welcome back to my Relearning Angular series. This series is me doing just that. I'm relearning Angular. I've learned it in the past, but I forgot most of the things about Angular, and I thought it'd be a fun video series to do with you guys. Whether you're learning it for the first time or you're like me, you haven't used it in a while and you kind of forget. We're going back through the basics, and then hopefully in the future more advanced things. So if that sounds sweet, feel free to subscribe. We're getting really close to 2K subs, and I appreciate all of you. Another cool stat, 306,000 views on this channel, which is amazing. So yeah, couldn't have done it, obviously, without you guys. Today we're going to add Bootstrap to our Angular app. We're going to do it with the way I call quick and dirty, where we're just going to attach the links to our HTML document. And the alternative of the way we're going to do it is download the CSS and JavaScript files and use the Node package manager to download those and add them to our Angular app. And hopefully we'll do that also in the future. But today I wanted to do it pretty quickly. And the reason being I wanted to create a navbar in our app because in the next video I like to go over routing. And I thought it'd be nice to have an actual working and good looking navbar to help us with that video. So if you're unfamiliar with Bootstrap, maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it. Bootstrap is just predefined CSS. And there's some JavaScript thrown in the mix. But for example, let's go to the docs. And I'll have some links in the description below for things I'm going to be doing because there's going to be some copy and pasting in this video. But if we go to the docs, we scroll down, here's all the different components that they have. So let's say I want to add a button to my app. Here are the buttons that they can provide you. And notice these are better looking than just a normal button that you would get. Of course, you could write your own CSS to make it look something like this, but I'm lazy and I'm also pretty bad at CSS. So that's where something like Bootstrap comes into play. And it gives you more hard stuff too, like a carousel. So you can have slides of images or something, and it can help you out with that. Particularly, we're going to add a navbar to this application. It's going to be its own component. But first, we want to add Bootstrap to our Angular application. So I have VS Code here. And before we get started, let me just serve it up our current application, just so we can remember what it looks like. And here we go. We have the app as it looked like before. The only thing different between the last Angular video and this is I added this test button. And let's go take a look at that. And maybe you'll get why I added this. So this button has a class button btn and btn-primary, and these are Bootstrap classes. So once Bootstrap is found in this HTML document, then this button will be styled a lot differently than it is now. Right now there's no class called btn that it can find, or btn-primary, so it's just going to look like the default button, which is obviously ugly. So let's go ahead and add Bootstrap. I'm going back to the documentation and we'll go to introduction. I'll have this link down below if you're copying and pasting too. But the top one here, the first link in the head, that is the CSS. So I'm just going to copy actually this whole link tag. And notice this is just linking to pretty much a site that has the CSS file. And we can, before we even copy and paste it, let's just copy the path. It's just a web call, and we'll go look at it, and here it is. We have the CSS. It just looks funny because they took away all the spacing to save room. But once again, we'll copy the whole line here of the link and add that to our project. So go back to VS Code, and I'm going to put this in the index.html, and under our icon, I'm going to paste that link like this. And it recompiled, and let's go look at our project now, and notice the button looks a lot better, and we have this nice hover effect as well, and it also gets a little darker as we hover over this button. But there's another part to Bootstrap that we're going to add, and that is the JavaScript portion of Bootstrap. So I mentioned Bootstrap comes with CSS, but also comes with some predefined JavaScript, which is going to be useful for our navbar, because our navbar, as the size of the screen shrinks, it will change its appearance, and some of the functionality with that is going to be using some of this JavaScript. So I'll copy the other link down here in the body, this script right here, and we'll go back to our index.html, so our main HTML page, and I'll put it right below the app root tags, just like this. And we're not going to notice anything different now because I don't have a navbar here at the top. But my next goal is, let's go ahead and kill this, so Control C, and I'll do ng, G for generate, C for component, and let's call this navbar. So now we have this new component in the Explorer over here, navbar. If we expand it, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the spec TypeScript file, so we'll move that to the recycle bin, sure. And let's look at the HTML. We get the basic navbar works, and the tag should be app-navbar. So let's go ahead and add that to our app component, and I'm going to put it in place of this hello Angular. Or no, let's keep that there. Let's put it above it. So we'll do a tag app-navbar, and now if we serve this again, we should see the navbar works statement. So here we go. Here's where that component ended up. It ended up at the top of the app component above the hello Angular header. And now we want to replace this navbar works with an actual navbar. So we're back into the documentation, navbar. Let's look at the nav piece here. And I'm basically going to copy this whole thing, and we can remove pieces as we need, like this disabled navigation link that we won't need. But I'll copy the whole thing for now and paste it in this navbar HTML. And now if we look at this after recompiling, we have this nice navbar. Obviously, we probably want to change the title of this navbar because this isn't going to be the name of our site. You probably have, even if you're playing around, you probably have an idea of what you want this site to be, or you can think of something. But since I made this so far of movies, let's go ahead and find it here where we can rename this. And it's actually going to be 3 lines down, this anchor tag, and we're going to name this Best Movies. That's going to be the title of this web app. So now if we recompile, here we go. It says Best Movies, and now we have the different navigation links here at the top. And for now, let's just keep home. Do I want to do that? Yeah, sure. Let's keep home, and instead of features, let's rename this to like info or something like that, or about maybe, and remove these last 2. So each one is its own list item here in this unordered list. And let's remove the last 2, the pricing and the disabled. Don't really care about those. We can add some in the future if we need to. We'll keep home, and we'll rename features to about. Of course, those aren't going anywhere yet, at least. When we talk about routing, they will. But if I click on them, if I click about, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to do anything. One last thing I want to do, I'm not too thrilled about it being light like this with the light background. I want to make it a dark theme. So what we can do in the navbar of the HTML, we can change the classes. So background, instead of light, I'm going to change this class to background, not bark, dark. And then we're also going to add a class called navbar-dark. And we'll save that, it'll recompile. And there we go. Now we have a dark themed, and notice how the font changes, and also the background of the navbar changes. There's a few other things you can do. You can do this blue one, so that's navbar dark, and the background is primary, which is this blue color. Or you can give it your own hexadecimal value for, I guess that's hexadecimal, for a color of your own. So you can choose any color you like, but for me, I prefer the darker colors. So in the next video, we want these links in the navbar to work. We want routing to occur. And not only that, when we click this, we want different components to appear in this app component. So how do we do that? That will be addressed in the next video. Hopefully you look forward to that, and I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, and take care.